facial expressions escape me. As every writer knows, when you're writing a novel, you need to plan everything. Every character needs backstory, everything you mention needs a structure, it needs history, or everything will collapse. So in this video, I thought I would discuss how M.Szpara uses capitalism and the economy to build the world of their book Docile. You can check out my previous video for a general review of this book if you want to know what's going on, but for context, this book is set in the near future in Maryland in the USA, and personal debt has spiraled out of control. So the government has introduced laws. These laws mean that your debt passes down to your children when you die. And this is the thing that has caused the personal debt to spiral and just snowball to crazy proportions. And we enter the book. Our main character, Alicia, and his family are up to $3 million in debt. And they have been visited by debt collectors, threatened to be removed to prison, and they have been branded like cattle to mark them as debtors to everyone who sees them. And it's these laws and this premise of economy and debt that the whole story is built upon. And we enter the story as Alicia is forced by this system into what is called the Docile system, which is where if you have debt, you can sell yourself as a docile, somebody will buy your debt, and then you essentially become their slave. And we learn very early on that dociles are just integral to controlling the country's debt. Because if the dociles were removed from the situation, then they wouldn't have a scenario with which they could control debt. But not only debt, but all other capitalist systems will crumble if the docile system is removed. Dociles are also used as personal companions, sex slaves, manual laborers, entertainers, general servants, anything pretty much that you need a body and no complaints. But interestingly, the docile system also serves to prop up the social conventions in the world of the super rich. So in the book we have the super rich and we have the super poor. We don't really have much in the middle. And it's this threat of unmanageable debt and then having to sell yourself into becoming a docile that keeps the super poor under the thumb of the super rich, and it prevents uprisings. It keeps everything relatively stable because everybody is kept in their place. Because to be honest, the poor people are just too busy worrying about paying off everything. And this idea is captured really perfectly where Alicia comes into conflict with an activist group who's trying to help him escape from the docile system, but he's almost defending it, and they accuse him of being complicit in this awful system of slavery. And he says something really beautiful. Not all people can afford to stand by their principles. And that, in a nutshell, is how Szpara uses capitalism and the economy to create a framework on which to build an entire story. I hope you enjoyed that little deep dive into novel writing and world building, and I hope I will see you in my next video, which, to be honest, is probably going to be something interesting, so you should really stick around to check it out. But until that time, I will speak to you in the comments. I'm hot. I need to take my clothes off.